Didn't we note in Deuteronomy 18, at the end of the chapter, that this prophet, like Moses, will do what? Speak in Yahweh's name. Yahweh, and however you want to pronounce the tetragrammaton Yud Hey Vav Hey, is not found in the Quran. And Muhammad did not come and say, Ko Amar Yahweh, this is what the Lord says, Ne'um Yahweh, utterance of the Lord, Kipi Diber, the mouth of the Lord, Kipi Yahweh Diber, that the mouth of the Lord is spoken. He didn't speak of Yahweh. The Quran doesn't mention Yahweh by name. Yet the prophet, like Moses, had to speak in his name. Also, where does the Torah say?
All right, I just want to point out the hypocrisy of Micheal Brown. Micheal Brown says, well, where does the Quran or where does Muhammad say, the Prophet Muhammad say, Yahweh in Islamic text? Well, Brown needs to get his eyes checked, or he needs to get new glasses, because he doesn't know what his own New Testament says. The New Testament, nowhere in the New Testament does Jesus say Yahweh. Nowhere in the New Testament, in the Greek version of the New Testament, is the name Yahweh mentioned. So if Yahweh is not mentioned in the New Testament, and if Jesus never said Yahweh, or Jesus never called on Yahweh, especially when he was on the cross, it stands to reason that Jesus did not consider Yahweh the name of God. So look at the hypocrisy. Look at the hypocrisy of Micheal Brown here. He's going on a tirade about how Islam or the Quran never mentions Yahweh. Well, there's two reasons. Well, the first reason why is because Yahweh is actually a pagan god from Edomite or Canaanite mythology, pagan mythology, and I've proven this in previous videos, so no need to reinvent the wheel here. But another problem is, I just want to point, the reason why I'm making this video is because the hypocrisy of Micheal Brown. Micheal Brown is a Christian and he believes in the New Testament, but nowhere in the Greek New Testament is Yahweh mentioned. Nowhere does Jesus or the disciples or even Paul mention the name of Yahweh in the New Testament. Yahweh is not in the Greek New Testament, and no author of the New Testament even alluded to Yahweh. So in the Greek manuscript. So Micheal Brown is just horribly inconsistent, and he's horribly hypocrite, and he's just a hypocrite. He's just hypocritical because he just hasn't read the New Testament carefully. Nowhere in the New Testament is Yahweh mentioned. So if he's going to criticize Islam for this point, he needs to point the finger back at himself, or point the finger back at the New Testament and admit that the New Testament itself does not mention Yahweh. Thus he debunks his own claim here. I watched the whole debate, and I don't agree with Brown or Zakir Hussain, and I'll explain why, but I just want to point out this hypocrisy on Micheal Brown. So beware of this double standard, this inconsistency, and this hypocrisy of Christian apologists when they keep bringing up the Yahweh argument, because it horribly backfires against them, and it shows their hypocrisy and their inconsistency. Stay tuned, more videos coming up ahead.